Hello and welcome to our free LinkedIn course called What Makes LinkedIn Different and How to Capitalize on It. I am your teacher today, Keon Thomas, the titular name behind Keon Thomas Consulting, and I'm here to help you learn how to get the most out of LinkedIn. I have 16 years of digital marketing experience, and one of the places where I've really seen a lot of growth, really seen a boom potential, especially in the B2B space, is LinkedIn. The goal of this course is to break down LinkedIn and how to maximize on it. Figure out why do people use LinkedIn? How do people use LinkedIn? What makes LinkedIn different? And how do I convert on LinkedIn? We really want to make sure that by the time you're done with this course, you know the steps that you need to take to really get the most out of LinkedIn. So let's talk about why people use LinkedIn. The majority of people use LinkedIn to research potential business partners. The next set is trying to reconnect with past business associates. After that, people are trying to make new business connections. The next group is trying to move deals forward. And the last group is trying to find a job. Basically, if you're on LinkedIn, you're trying to either A, move business deals forward, or B, you're trying to find a job. So, unlike other social networks, the majority of people do not spend time in their feed on LinkedIn, only 32%. So, unlike Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, where all you're doing is thumbing up and down on your phone, looking for content to consume, that is not how people consume LinkedIn. Instead, the majority of them spend time in their inbox. So, unlike Twitter and Instagram, where unless someone slides into your DMs, you're not really spending time on Messenger and your direct message inbox. Instead, on LinkedIn, over 50% of the people are spending their time, their bread and butter time on LinkedIn in the LinkedIn inbox. Now let's talk about B2B sales and connect that to social media and really figure out how we can maximize that to the fullest potential. So, as we all know, all B2B sales start off with narrowing down who you're trying to go after. Prospecting, we're all used to it. Next, you start to do outreach, so you start reaching out and connecting to the prospects. Then you start to nurture those prospects and hopefully fostering and nurturing them into people who may be interested in buying. And then you start to build a true relationship with them and put together the building blocks that are going to be necessary for closing more business. So, unlike other social networks, LinkedIn is perfectly equipped to deal with this situation. So now the first major question, is LinkedIn right for you? If you sell to businesses, LinkedIn's for you. Because for the foreseeable future, LinkedIn is 100% focused on business. If now the question is, do you have an impulse sale or a relationship sale? Do you have a sale that's more impulse like Office 365 or Google Apps for Business? Or do you have more of a high-end sale like insurance or something like SAP? Then the next question is, do you have a high touch sale? Does someone need to really build a relationship with you, talk to you multiple times before they're ready to close? If you answer yes or you're leaning in that direction for any of these questions, LinkedIn is where you have to be to maximize your true sales and earning potential. You are leaving opportunities on the table if you're not maximizing that platform. So, how do we get started really maximizing LinkedIn? The first step is going to be fixing your profile. We're going to pay attention to the sections that really matter on your profile and how to get the most out of them. A completed profile, a really honed in product profile really has a interesting anatomy, let's say. First, it starts with powerful images. You need to make a good first impression. This is the first thing someone sees when they come to your profile. Then you need to have an SEO'd headline, a search engine optimized headline. And we're not talking about search engine optimization here for Google. We're actually talking about search engine optimization for LinkedIn. So when people are looking for services related to you as an individual and your business, they're actually finding and seeking your profile and not finding a million of your competitors. Then you need to have a summary that catches someone's eye so they get to know who you are. You need to then utilize your experience and your volunteering so that you can build your brand. Then you need to list your skills and get endorsements related to those skills that matter, that actually show social proof that you know what you say you know. And then we want to get you good quality recommendations. They are key. They add a degree of authenticity and they validate you. So let's start with images. These are actually images taken directly from my own LinkedIn profile. That image on the left is my profile picture. As you see, it's a smiling picture. I'm looking at the camera. Someone can actually connect with me. The other image is my current banner image. That is me and my lovely wife, my business partner, my partner in crime, Angela. And it helps to inject personality into my profile. Someone really knows that that is one of the key relationship in my life. Now let's talk about a good headline. What most people are doing wrong in their headline today is they're listing their current job title in their headline. Guess what? That's not where LinkedIn is actually looking at from an SEO perspective, where you currently work at. So you're actually losing valuable LinkedIn SEO real estate. Instead, you want to pack your headline with keyword rich skills. Like for myself, I have digital marketer, SEO, web development, web design, social media marketer in my headline so that when people are searching for those, they find me and they find my expertise. Next, you want to write a good summary, and I recommend a 40-40-20 rule, meaning only 20% of your profile is describing you real tidbits about who you are. 40% of your profile is injecting personality, what makes you special. And the last 40% is talking about what value you bring to this connection. What makes you different? What makes people want to connect with you? Now let's talk about experience and volunteering. This is where LinkedIn is looking for your job information. So make sure it's up to date, make sure that it's accurate, and that you have all that information in there. Secondly, we want to try and link to real company pages, the places that you work. Make sure you're connecting to their pages if they exist. Not everybody is capitalized on having a company page on LinkedIn, so you can't always do it. But if you can do that, it just adds a degree of validity and gives you that little extra edge. Lastly, you want to tell a story with your job position. You don't want to say, I managed the website, I handled SEO, I handle affiliate marketing. Instead, say, I built a website that moved the conversion needle up 30%. I managed an affiliate program of over 10,000 affiliates where over 5,000 of them were active and converting at 3.5%. Or I ran SEO and we moved to page one for over 30 of our 100 active keywords. Tell a story so that when people read it, they know what value you bring, not just the duties that you handled. Next, we want to talk about skills and endorsements. Remember that only 3 skills matter. That's why there's not much on this slide. I really want you to focus on 3. Only 3 skills can be listed on your profile without someone having to commit to an extra click. How many of you guys click an extra click when you go to anyone's profile? Nobody. So make sure that the skills that you have at the top that you choose to display on your profile, those 3 are the skills that number 1, you're going to get a ton of endorsements for, but number 2 is also a things that bring value, things that really show somebody who you are and what value you bring to the table. So now let's talk about how you get more endorsements. Number 1, ask. Guess what? You have not because you ask not. Make sure that you're asking people for those quality endorsements. You'll be surprised at how many people in your immediate network will just go ahead and give you props for the things that you know that you, and the only reason that they're not right now because you haven't asked them to do it. Number 2, share the love. Guess what? You go out and you give more endorsements, you're going to get more endorsements. Go to all your close connections, everybody that you know that's on LinkedIn, and give those valuable endorsements. Let people know that they are awesome, and guess what? They're going to come back and let the people know that you are awesome. Then do more outreach. Make it a normal part of your outreach, your onboarding, any kind of communications that you're doing on a B2B level. Just like how just like how some B2C companies are saying, hey, go check out our Facebook page, stuff like that. Ask people to give you those endorsements. And lastly, message your LinkedIn connections. You'd be surprised how many people are not actively messaging their LinkedIn connections. And if you go out there and you ask them, they trust me, they will give you those endorsements. Next, let's focus on recommendations and why they matter. Number one, it brings authenticity, true authenticity to your profile. Someone else is saying that you are awesome. Number two, it brings social proof. Again, that extra validity factor. Someone took the time out of their day to write up something about you, not just simply click a skill endorsement. And it's going to be that really moves the needle in someone looking at your profile. And next, they are LinkedIn SEO gold. People in when LinkedIn is looking at your ranking your profile in search engines, they really factor in those recommendations. So now let's think of ways to get more recommendations. Here goes just some tips and tricks that we've seen work, and you have to figure out what's going to work in your organization. Number one, don't be afraid to ask. Similar to how B2C companies are saying, like me on Facebook, review me on Yelp, recommendations are the same thing in the B2B space. Make sure that you're asking and that you're requesting those valuable recommendations. Number two, incorporate it into your playbook. This should be a standard part of your sales practice, your support practice, your onboarding practice and processes. They need to be an essential part of that communication to your customers. And lastly, just like I said in on endorsements, share the love. Make sure you let people know that you are looking for their recommendations, and by giving them to them, by actually reciprocating. If you go out and you give those recommendations, guess what? You're gonna get a whole bunch more back. Now let's move on to the second portion of this lesson in regards to moving that needle on LinkedIn. We gotta write better copy, copywriting that converts. First off, offer first, ask later. This is a mistake I see everyone making on LinkedIn. Do not, when you send out your first batch of messages or your first uh, post to your profile, ask for a sale, ask for a meeting, or ask for a time commitment. People are just going to dump it in the trash. You're only going to see a 1 to 2% conversion rate on that traffic. And I don't know about you, but I like seeing 10 to 25% conversion rates, which is what we tend to see on LinkedIn when we instead offer first and bring that ask much later into the conversation. So as you see, there's a bar right here because we always say give value first and be patient. And one of the reasons why we use that bar is because of the following. Think about if you were at a bar or at somewhere and you saw somebody who you were super interested in, male or female, and immediately the first thing you went up to them and did was marry me. I want to have 20 kids and I want us to be married and I want us to buy this house together and live happily ever after. I don't know about you, but if somebody, even my lovely wife, came up to me and did that, I'd be running out the door so quick you would see those old Looney Tune dust ghosts left behind. That would be me. Don't do that. So then why do we do that to people when we are talking to them on LinkedIn or anywhere? We go straight for the sale. Buy my product, schedule a meeting, do a demo, watch my webinar. That's the first thing we're asking someone to do. Yet we haven't even dated them yet. They haven't even gotten to know our product, who we are as a person, or the platform that we're talking on. Bring value first and be patient. So changes you can make to your copy today, and trust me, they will help you convert. And this is across all mediums, not just LinkedIn. Number one, promote others. You want to use copy that is not centered around you. Matter of fact, you shouldn't even be brought into the equation until you already have started to build a relationship and brought value to the conversation. If you can share content from third parties, not from your own website or blog, that help to move the conversation forward. Number two, keep your conversation warm. Text can be cold and unpersonal. Try as hard as you can to keep it warm. Make sure you sound like a real person and not a template. Not, hi, John, sign up for a demo of my new blah, blah, blah. Instead, hi, John, I hope your day is going well. How is it in sunny Los Angeles? Is the weather nice? We really have a awesome item for you that we like for you to go check out. That's a much warmer conversation. Keep it short. Everyone is experiencing TLDR. Too long, didn't read. So keep your sentences short, keep your words short, and be as concise as possible and still getting to the point while also sounding like a human being and not a robot. And lastly, when you get ready to close, move the conversation to a platform, in our case, off of LinkedIn, into an area where you can actually manage the conversation. Now let's really get into the lead generation elements now that we got the foundational pieces in place. So we're going to focus on getting connections and maximizing LinkedIn's true potential. Number one, we need to target our invites. LinkedIn has the ability to target across multiple different avenues. So really narrow down your search for your prospects to industry, geography, profile language, seniority level, job title, job function, company head count, company type, or anything in between that makes logical sense for you to narrow off of. Because if you cast too wide of a net, you won't actually bring anyone any value. Number two, you want to build a template, you want to offer something, you want to be authentic, and you don't want to ask for anything. If you keep those elements in mind, build a template that really matches your search criteria, offering something that really is of value, being authentic, honest, and real with the people who you're trying to communicate, and not ask for anything. I bet you will see some of the conversion rates like what we're seeing on those connection requests being accepted. Currently, across most of our clients, we're seeing anywhere between a 40 and 61% acceptance rate on connections because we bring true value, we bring true authenticity, and we are offering up something of real value, and we're not asking for anything yet. Now let's talk about nurturing those connections and starting to build towards a close that is really going to start to drive you business and start turning these LinkedIn leads into potential deals. You want to guide someone to your close logically and down that funnel. You want to message them regularly. Make sure they hear from you. You don't just ghost on them. Make sure they actually hear from you on a regular basis. We recommend a minimum of once a week. Share quality content that really is going to bring value to your conversation and to the connection that you're trying to communicate to. And remember that it takes time. On average, it will take you a minimum of 4 to 5 messages to a contact before they're actually ready to buy, before you really start to see those high conversion rates that we're talking about. And then when you do prepare to close, remember, bring the conversation off of LinkedIn. LinkedIn is not well equipped to actually give you CRM level tools to manage a conversation. Now let's start talking about, since we have all the building blocks together, what target numbers you want to hit, what KPIs you want to pay attention to, the things you really need to succeed. Number one, you want to be reaching out to 700 new connections per week. You want to at least make sure you message your connections once each week, or else you're going to sound like a ghost. You're going to be radio silent. You want to have 4 to 5 messages in your nurture sequence so that you can make sure that you have a line of messages for your new connections to hear. Once per day, you want to check your inbox, clean it out, reply to people. Make sure that you're staying on top of those conversations. And then you want to have one sales navigator account per profile that you're trying to growth hack like this. Sales Navigator could allow you to search more, give you a little bit more search filters for narrowing down that path. And the big portion is LinkedIn has this thing called commercial use on search. They don't disclose the numbers on it, but if you have a Sales Navigator account, you can eliminate ever having to worry about that because it does not apply to Sales Navigator users. And lastly, you need a system, a CRM, one that can track these deals, these conversations, and help you stay on top of it. So we know this sounds like it's a ton of work. We know it sounds like you're going to have so much to do and not enough time. It sounds like a great idea. You know you want more leads, but where are you going to find all this time to do it? Well, we're here to help. Our colleague, Sandra Gonzalez, amazing person, crushing LinkedIn every single day, is ready and willing to help you craft the best campaign for your business. All you got to do, reach out to her. Shoot her a quick email at businesssandra@gmail.com. That's businesssandra@gmail.com, and schedule a meeting with her. She'll sit down with you and see what mix and match of techniques makes the most sense for your business so that you get the most leads, get the most meetings, and start crushing your LinkedIn. Go ahead and email her, schedule that meeting. You know you'll want to, and let's go ahead and start crushing LinkedIn.